everyone, welcome to Slow Flow. I'm Chrissy, for those of you that haven't practiced with me before. It's a nice, very gentle slow flow. We're going to stay very much grounded down onto the earth, my favourite during slow flow classes, especially when it's quite hot as well. So if you need to take a variation, please take a variation that suits you. You know, you can put it up a notch if you like, but the idea of today's class is just to allow ourselves to melt down and to unwind. All right, if anybody has got any injuries, any pregnancies, anything that I need to be aware of, please use the chat to address me and I'll get back to you verbally. Otherwise, enjoy the class. I'm just going to scoot my mat back a little bit so that you've got a better view in. And we're going to begin laying down on our backs. Taking the soles of the feet together and the knees to drop out to the sides, placing one hand onto the belly and one hand onto the heart. And just using this time to connect into the physical touch of the body. Really honouring yourself or arriving onto the mat and finding this space to come and practice. Really honouring the connection down in towards the earth. And as we settle into the posture, just begin to make a mental awareness of each point of contact into the mat. The soles of the feet, the edges of the feet rather, the sit bones, the lower back, the elbows, the whole of the spine and the crown of the head, as well as the shoulders. Just notice how heavy the body is feeling now. Imagining that you're melting down in towards the earth. Just begin to take a visual scan of how it is that you're feeling physically. Observing any areas of aches or pains. Any areas of tension or ease, or even comfort. And just observe it without any judgment, as we connect to the practice of santosha, contentment. Not wishing to be any different, just completely accepting right here and right now. And ask yourself, how is it that you're feeling emotionally? Letting go of anything that has happened over the course of the week so far. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Last few days and your journey onto the mat, no matter how big or short that journey was. And then ask yourself how it is that you're feeling spiritually, whatever you decide that means for you. And you can always revisit these questions later on in the practice as we find movement and length. Cultivating all of those questions together, begin to set an intention for your practice. The intention is just something that draws you into the practice. It's just gives your practice a purpose. So whether that's something that you want to devote your practice towards person or towards a physical intention or towards a mantra, allow it to become personal to you. And keep that intention held within the heart throughout the next 60 minutes. All intentions are welcome. The word yoga translates to the word to unite or to yoke. So let's all unite using the breath. Inhale through the belly, lifting through the pelvic floor, the rib cage, the chest expands, taking the breath deep into the back of the throat and all the way up towards the third eye. Hold on the in-breath, slight retention. Exhale, sigh it out and let it go. 2 more, inhale through the belly, the rib cage, the chest lifts. Inhale, 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 inhale as much air as you can, filling the lungs full. Hold at the top. Exhale wide through the mouth, sigh it out, let it go. 1 more, big inhale. Big exhale. Sealing the lips and generating a slight constriction at the back of the throat as you connect to Ujjayi Pranayama. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Filling the room with the beautiful sound of the ocean. On your next inhale, just using the hands to guide the knees towards each other. Make sure that you separate your feet hips distance apart and you can tickle the heels with the fingertips. To begin with, we're going to begin to lift through the lower back, the mid back, maybe the upper back off the ground, and then interlace the fingers underneath you so you're rolling under the shoulders. Don't worry, we're not holding. We're going to walk our feet all the way over to the right side of the mat so that they come off the mat. Drop the hips down and begin to take a nice shoulder stretch. So the hands are interlaced behind the body, behind the back. If you can't interlace the fingers, don't worry, you can keep them flat onto the ground. Just feeling that nice stretch through the right shoulder. You may need to adjust yourself a little bit so that you're not crushing your elbow or your arm. Using the inhales and the exhales. You spend so much time creating tension around the shoulders and the neck. It's really important to let them go and to cultivate some release. Beginning to lift the hips up, walking the feet back through to the center, and then begin to walk them all the way over to the left this time, dropping the hips down, taking that nice shoulder stretch. Far too often we think that we're holding a lot of emotions and a lot of tension in the lower part of the body, and we really do forget about the top half as well. It's really important to understand that the whole body works in alignment and in a relationship with each other. Let's lift the hips back up, creeping the feet back through to the center line. This time, keeping the fingers interlaced, you can release if you need to. Just begin to draw the right knee up towards the sky and extend the leg. We're holding full 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place the right ankle on top of the left thigh, lower the hips down, release the bind. From here, you can choose to stay here if you wish. If you are, then keep encouraging that right knee towards the front of the room. Otherwise, draw the left knee in towards the chest, holding on behind the thigh, behind the knee. Both feet are nice and flexed. Breathing deeply. It's such a nice hip opener. Really helps us to release any issues with trapped nerves or sciatica. Allow the shoulders to relax down and allow some softness to wash over the face. From here, keep the figure of 4. Just begin to drop the feet over to the left so that the sole of the right foot will plant onto the ground. Take a gentle twist over towards the right. That right knee is drawing up towards the sky. Nice and gentle twist. With each inhale, you're cultivating fresh prana, and with each exhale, you're allowing anything that doesn't serve you to wash away. Inhale, draw the feet back through to the center line. Unwind, plant both feet back down, begin to lift lower back, mid back, maybe upper back. Again, maybe you interlace the fingers, drawing that left knee to the chest and then extending the leg to the sky. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1, placing the left ankle on top of the right thigh, release the hips down. And again, you can choose to stay here if it feels nice. Otherwise, begin to draw that right knee into the chest, holding onto the back of the thigh. Both feet are nice and flexed. And again, the back of the body is melting down in towards the mat. Observing the inhales and the exhales. Slowly begin to drop the feet over towards the right, so that the sole of the left foot plants down onto the ground, the knees extend into the sky, and allow the arms to cactus out to the side as you take your gentle twist. Breathing deeply. Twisting is super, super good for detoxification, digestion, and releasing. Good. Inhale back through to the midline. Begin to hug the knees both in towards the chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Make sure that you're listening carefully because it can get a little bit confusing. Begin to extend the left leg along the mat and then drape that right knee all the way over to the left and keep rolling over so that you're coming onto your tummy and you're placing both forearms down onto the ground so that you're coming into this variation of Sphinx pose at the back of the mat. That right leg is extended to a 90-degree angle outside of the mat, drawing the palms in towards the center line, allowing the chest to glide through the gates of the arms. Crown of the head is nice and energetic. Breathing deeply. It's very difficult, even when we're in lockdown, to slow down and take some time to appreciate the moments of pause and a moment of softness. People get the idea of yoga and the goal of yoga is to be able to touch their feet to their head or to be able to balance on their hands, when actually the goal of yoga is just to cultivate this sense of stillness. Very, very slowly, place your hands onto the mat so you're coming off the forearms. We're going to begin to raise that right hand to the sky. Keeping the right leg where it is, thread that right arm underneath the left, you're dropping down to the right ear. You can choose to stay here or you can choose to wrap that left arm over and hooking it onto the right thigh. It is a variation of our shoulder stretch, so make sure that you're not forcing yourself into any pain. We're just here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's release that. Planting both hands down, lower your chest down to the ground, and then begin to roll yourself back onto the back, drawing that right knee into the chest. And just draw the knee into the chest, circle out through the foot, the ankle. Take a circle in one direction, take a circle into the opposite direction. Breathing deeply. Good. And then allow that right leg to extend along the mat. Draw the left knee into the chest. And same thing, we're going to drape that left knee all the way over to the right. Keep rolling over so that you come and lie down onto your belly at the back of the mat. Place both forearms down. Allow the hands to drag back through to the center line and allow the chest to drape forwards. Try and keep a neutral tilt of the chin in towards the chest so that you're creating extension through the back of the neck and activating through the deep neck flexors, which are linked directly to the core of our being. Just a few more moments here, maybe closing down the eyes if it feels safe. Inhale, planting the hands onto the mat. We're going to raise that left hand to the sky and then thread the left arm underneath the right shoulder. And then maybe
You stay, maybe you wrap the right hand behind, hooking onto the left thigh. Work with a variation that suits you, modify if you need to, not forcing yourself into any pretzel-like shapes, but just finding different ways to move with the body. We're 60% water, so there's no reason why we can't choose to move like water. For 3, for 2, and 1. Let's unwind. Planting our chest back down onto the ground, rolling ourselves back onto the back. And this time, we'll getting the left knee into the chest. And again, just begin to circle the ankle in one direction. Circling it into the opposite direction. Good, let's hug both knees into the chest. Take a few rocks up and down the spine. Find a little bit of momentum. And then on maybe your third or fourth rock, we roll onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. So we're stacking our shoulders on top of the wrists, hips on top of the knees. Really make sure that you're spreading through the fingertips nice and wide so that you're protecting through the wrists. Just beginning with some gentle cats and cows. So as we inhale, begin to lift the chest, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone high. Exhale, push the floor away, doming through the upper back, the chin drops in towards the chest. Inhale as you arch, 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 look up. Exhale as you round, 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 chin to chest. Take a few more like this in your own breath and in your own movement. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, it just matters that it feels good. Allowing ripples, allowing this space. It becomes your practice, nobody else's. Good. Take a final round. And then from our tabletop, we're going to begin to extend ourselves into puppy pose. So try and keep the hips on top of the knees. We're not sinking back into a child's pose. Begin to extend your hands forwards as you either drape the chest, the forehead, or the chin onto the mat. Really targeting through the shoulders, through the upper back, allowing the heart to melt, allowing it to drape. And again, we're focusing on the inhales, focusing on the exhales. And they do become quite a challenge mentally as we hold some of these postures for some time. It's really good for releasing our fascia, our connective tissues. Take 3 more breaths. Inhale, slowly peel yourself back up into our tabletop position. And this time, from tabletop, begin to tuck the toes under, walk your hands back, and we're coming into a toe stretch. So toe stretch is quite an agonizing one a little bit, so use the breath, really work with it. We're going to take the hands up towards the sky and bring the hands down in towards the heart space. The feet are home to our Muladhara chakra, our root, our Pada Bandha, and it really, we don't really appreciate the feet that much. So just take this time to really appreciate and honor the foundations of our life, both on and off the mat. As we inhale, take the arms up and overhead, Urdhva. Exhale, cactus the elbows out to the side, take it into a back bend. Inhale, sweep the hands high. Exhale, cactus the elbows, take it into a back bend. 2 more, you can do this guys. Inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, back bending. Last one, inhale, raising the hands all the way to the sky. Exhale, cactus the arms, back bending. Good job. Inhale, let's slowly walk ourselves forwards and gently tap out the tops of the feet. Tap out the tops of the feet, rather. There we go. Good. From here, begin to walk your hands back to a normal seated position, so we're in kneeling. If guys it is agony for you, especially if you have tight hamstrings or quads, grab a pillow, something to place between your hips and your heels. Otherwise, placing both hands down onto the knees as we inhale, we're going to draw the heart through the gates of the arms, take it into a mini cow rather. Exhale, begin to round, dropping the chin towards the chest, round in the back, cat rather. Inhale, drawing the heart through the gates of the arms, open and squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, rounding ourselves all the way in. Last one. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw the chest forwards. Exhale, rounding it all the way in. Let's draw ourselves back through to neutral. This time, take the elbows out to the sides. Once again, we're cactusing. We're going to work a little bit through the shoulder. I just want you to bring some awareness into the pelvis when you're taking these movements. Often, a lot of students, including myself, will have a natural tendency to arch through the lower back, so sort of like this. What you want to do, when we're arching the back, that means we're creating flares of the ribs. What we want to try and encourage is the ribs to close in, so that we're activating through Mula and Uddiyana Bandha. We're going to take the elbows out to the sides, cactusing the arms. And as we exhale, keep everything glued in, begin to draw the forearms together, bring the palms to touch. Inhale as you take the elbows out to the sides, keep everything neutralized. Exhale, bring the forearms together, palms touch. 2 more. Inhale, feel the squeeze of the shoulder blades, open. Exhale, squeezing them all the way in. Good, last one guys. Inhale, open and expand through the chest. Exhale, neutralizing through the pelvic, forearms to touch, palms together. Now staying in this position as we inhale, begin to arch through the back, take the hands up and overhead. Exhale, rounding it all the way into this tiny little bone. Inhale as you arch, arch, arch. Take the hands overhead, keep the hands away from the face. Exhale as you round, round, round. One more. Inhale, take the arms up and overhead, squeezing it in. Exhale, rounding yourself in together. Good. Inhale back through to center. This time take your right hand behind the back. The left hand comes across to the right knee. Inhale to lengthen and exhale, take a gentle twist. With each inhale, think about the length of the spine, and with each exhale, think about generating that twist as you create space. Parshva Drishti over to the right shoulder. Inhale, head to center. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind. As you inhale, you grow. And as you exhale, you twist a little bit deeper. Use the inhales and the exhales. Inhale through to center. Walking ourselves forwards back into tabletop. Just give the feet a little wiggle. Take any movements that serve you. As we inhale, a little bit of strength. Begin to tuck the toes under and just hover the knees a few inches off the ground. Doming through the back for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the knees down. Begin to extend the right leg back and up. This time we're not extending the leg. We're going to bend into the knee. Imagine there's a stamp at the bottom of the foot and you want to stamp the foot to the ceiling. So keeping everything, the foot flexed, begin to stamp the foot up towards the sky. So we're working through the glutes. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Imagine that you're kicking the foot to the head, take it into a back bend. Stay in this position, bend the elbows, drop the chin and the chest down. Release that right knee down towards the earth, snaking ourselves forwards onto the mat. When you arrive onto the mat, take your right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. Begin to bend into the left knee. Options, you can stay there, or of course if you've got any issues with the hamstrings or the knees, stay here. Otherwise, reach back for the foot and then begin to take the foot out towards, down towards the mat. Make sure it's Make sure that the heel isn't directly over the calf, it's just drawing out to the side slightly. Try and keep the hips and everything nice and square, shoulders are square. This is really good, especially I know in lockdown everyone started to run, everyone started to cycle, including myself, and since I've started to cycle actually I've noticed a big difference in my hamstrings. So I find it very important to stretch them out, let them go. Good, let's release that leg. Place both hands either side of the hips. Begin to push yourself into an upward facing dog or a baby cobra or a little higher. Exhale, send your hips back and up into a first downward facing dog. And for this first downward dog, just begin to pedal out the knees. Bend one knee, bend another, wiggle the hips from side to side. Take any movements that serve you. It can be quite liberating to just allow natural movements to occur. From here, begin to raise the right leg high to the sky, three-legged dog, and just gently begin to bend the knee, opening out through the hip, and take some circles through the hip. So opening the knee out to the side, circle in, creating these nice big movements. Good, let's reverse those circles. Try and keep everything nice and static other than that back leg. The banders are activated. And then begin to extend the leg to the sky, squaring everything off. Lightly step the foot in between the hands and drop the back knee down onto the mat, keeping the toes tucked under. Just begin to shift your weight forwards and back, forwards and back. It's really important to take lots of variations and lots of fluid movements to allow the fascia and the connective tissues, the synovial fluid to move around the joint so that you can move quite freely. From here, planting your left hand down into the ground, begin to extend the right hand up to the sky. So you're taking a nice gentle twist. Listen carefully. Begin to extend through the right leg and shift the hips back, reaching the right hand back. Swing the right hand, brushing it across the mat, bend into the right knee and brush it forwards, taking a big circle. Again, begin to sink the hips back, taking it into a variation of a Ardha Hanumanasana. Sweep the hand along the mat as you rebend into the right knee and reach the hand forwards. Two more, sinking the hips back, sink that right hand all the way to the back of the room. Brushing the fingertips, rebend into the right knee, reach the hand forwards. Last one, inhale, sink the hips back. This time, as we sink our hips back, we're just going to hold it here for a nice diagonal stretch. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place that right hand next to the right foot, keeping the right leg straight. Ardha Hanumanasana, inhale to lengthen, and exhale as you fold down any amount. It doesn't matter how far down you get, as long as you feel a stretch. The gaze is towards the toes, Pada Drishti. Unless you're down low, then you take the gaze to the shin. Breathing deeply. With each inhalation, we're inviting fresh prana, and with each exhalation, we're folding a little deeper. 4, 3, 4, 2, keep drawing the toes to the face, and 1. From here, begin to walk your hands all the way back, untuck the back toes, so that we're coming down into a seated position with that left leg bent. Now guys, it's important to avoid stretching the knee. We never want to stretch the knee in yoga. So if you feel there's a pain in the knee or anything like that, then I want you to take the sole of the foot to the inner right thigh and come into Janushirasana instead. So find a variation that works for you, drawing the right toes towards the face. If you have got issues with lower back pain or tight hamstrings, you can always hold on to the shin. Otherwise, inhale, take the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge forwards, grab a hold of the foot, the ankle, the shin, wherever suits you. Inhale to grow. And exhale, fold. Allowing softness to creep over the body. Allowing the back of the body to surrender. Ultimately, when we're talking of the 8 limbs of yoga, the aim of yoga is enlightenment. And Gautama said, the man who finds enlightenment, before enlightenment, he still washed pans. After enlightenment, he still washed pans. So we don't change. Our daily chores don't change. It's the way that we respond to situations and the external world around us. Take an inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale, release. Now, begin to plant the sole of the left foot down onto the ground so that the knee is flexed into the sky. You want the foot to slightly be facing over to the left, so it's not facing forwards, it's slightly out to the left. We're going to take that right hand and grab a hold of the left ankle and then sweep that left hand up and over towards the right foot. It doesn't have to reach, it doesn't matter if it reaches or not. It's just a nice little twist. If anything, I'd much rather you be a lot higher and you're finding a lot more depth in your twist rather than you're super low and you're just clamping everything up and everything is just feeling a little bit static and stagnant. If you can't breathe in a posture, it's an indicator that you shouldn't really be in the posture. Breathing deeply, really stretching through that left side body. Inhale, picking your chest back up. Now listen carefully, planting your hands down if you need to. Begin to lift your hips off the ground so that we're coming into Skandasana. The hands are into the heart space. That left elbow is on the inside of the left knee. Your hips are not off the ground here. Your foot is flexing up to the sky and you want to encourage the thumbs to draw in towards the sternum so that the chest can elevate. Breathing deeply. With each inhale, the front of the body is energetically growing. And with each exhale, the back of the body is energetically lengthening down to the earth. Keep the bandhas switched on. Asking yourself what it was that brought you here. See if you can lengthen through the chest a little deeper. For 3. For 2. And 1. Place the hands down onto the mat. Lift the hips to the sky. Straighten through both legs. And we're coming into Prasarita Padottanasana. So both hands are into the center of the mat. You want the fingertips to be facing forward, spreading through the hands. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Crown of the head draws down in towards the mat. The elbows are at a 90-degree angle. And the gaze is to the tip of the nose, Nasagra Drishti. See where the weight is distributed into the feet. If it's dumped in towards the heels, can you encourage the weight to be equal, nice and equally in towards the balls. Imagine that you're holding a huge beach ball in between the thighs and you're trying to avoid it dropping. You want to squeeze it in like crazy. For 3. For 2. And 1, lifting the head and the chest on the in-breath. Begin to walk your hands all the way to the top of the mat, so you're lunging yourself forwards and then dropping that back knee back down to the mat, coming back into a lizard variation. So you want both hands to be on the inside of the front leg. You can choose to stay here on the hands. You can choose to drop down to the forearms. You can also choose to pick up the back knee if you want to hardcore it a little bit. But as you take your variation, just ask yourself who it is that's making the decision. Is it you or is it the ego? And if it's the ego, can you just try and relax it and let it go? Because, you know, we all know that the ego isn't good for us and it doesn't really exist. Breathe. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. As long as you feel a stretch and as long as there's no pain. Take 5 more breaths. Inhale back onto the hands if you're not already. And this time we're going to take it into our pigeon pose. So the shin comes parallel to the top of the mat and you're lowering the hips down.
Guys, if you do get pain in the knees in pigeon, then I want you to take this variation like we did at the beginning of the class with our thread the needle, okay? Because I'm telling you, it's not good for your knees. Knees are one of those things that, you know, over time, if you keep repeating the same sort of issues and the same habits, then they're really going to mess up and it takes a long time to heal. Take an inhale through the nose and then exhale, walking yourself down, allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to sleep. Encourage both hips to remain glued down in towards the earth. Relaxing through the back part of the body. I'm not sure about any of you guys, but since the weather has started to heat up, then, you know, it makes us feel quite heavy. If you're a lady and you're practicing and maybe you're through your cycle, different parts of your cycles are gonna make you feel a lot heavier than others. So sometimes it's nice to just really find the earth and find the connection. Something that we don't always appreciate. Take 5 more breaths here. Noticing if you're holding any tension. Inhale, lifting the head and the chest. Walk your hands back. And this time we're just going to swing it back into a tabletop. Give the hips a wiggle. Give them a shake. Take some movements that feel good. And then when you're ready, just drop the hips back towards the heels and arrive into an extended child's pose. Just coming back to the space. And just really pausing for a sense of gratitude, because often in a time where we're constantly moving, we're constantly sometimes always on autopilot mode, it's quite difficult and it's much more of a challenge, in my opinion, to take the slower paced practices rather than your rocket or your huge power classes. It's really important to balance it out and take time for yourself. From here, let's begin to walk our hands over towards the right so that we're getting a nice stretch through the left side body. And you can always place the left hand on top of the right if you want a deeper stretch from the hip all the way up to the fingertips. Slowly walking your hands back into the center line and then creeping your hands all the way over to the left this time. And again, if you took that same variation with the opposite hand on the top, then feel free here as well. It's important to balance out our Ida and our Pingala, our masculine and our feminine sides of the body. Inhale, creeping your hands back through. Snaking ourselves forwards back into tabletop. This time we're extending the left leg back and up. Begin to bend into the left knee. So again, imagine that you've got that stamp on the bottom of the foot and you're stamping it towards the ceiling. Begin to pump through the leg for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a back bend. Imagine that you want to kick the foot to the head. Bend the elbows, drop the chin and the chest down towards the earth. Place the left knee down, snake yourself all the way down onto the mat. This time we're taking the left forearm parallel to the earth, bend into the right knee. Maybe you stay there, maybe you reach back for the foot, maybe you encourage the foot out towards the right side of the mat.
and encourage the heel down in towards the earth. Keep everything squared. Apologies, I thought I was repeating the same side, but realised I wasn't. Notice if you're holding any tension around the jaw, if you're squeezing everything in, or you're tensing around the hips or around the pelvis. And if you are, then you want to cultivate a sense of softness. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. Releasing the back leg, nice and slowly. Placing the hands underneath the hips, begin to make your way into upward facing or baby cobra. Exhale, hips to the sky, into downward facing dog. And again, feel free to move in any way that serves you. Bending the knees, wiggling the hips. Anything that is drawing your attention to those areas. Listen to the body. The body is the biggest teacher. Let's begin to raise the left leg high to the sky, bend into the left knee, opening out through the hip. And again, we're just going to begin to take some nice big circles with the knees and the hips, circling it out. Breathing deeply. Good. Let's reverse the circles in the opposite direction. Noticing the differences of the left compared to the right. Square the hips, raising the left leg to the sky, and then step the foot in between the hands. Drop the left knee down onto the earth, and then keeping that right hand glued into the mat, begin to extend the left hand to the sky, taking a nice easy twist. As we exhale, begin to shift your hips back, extend the left hand to the back of the room, brush the fingertips forwards, rebend into the knee, lunge forwards, sweep the hand. 3 more, inhale, sweep the hips back, sweep the hand back. Exhale, bend into the knee, reach the hand forwards. 2 more, inhale, shift the hips, sweep the hand back, brush the fingertips as you rebend and re-extend. Last one, inhale, sweep the hand all the way back, brushing the fingertips, re-extend. As you inhale, sweep the hand back and straighten through the front leg. We're holding 4, 5, 4, 4, so it's a twist in our Ardha Hanumanasana. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. Place both hands next to the front leg. Re-square the hips, inhale to lengthen. And exhale, folding down any amount, finding length through the back of the body. And again, instead of thinking knee to nose, we're thinking belly towards the thigh to cultivate length through the back line. And not really encouraging the back to round. Following the feet with the gaze. Nice and strong. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. Inhale, lifting the head and the chest. Walk your hands all the way back so that the leg will drag with you and you're sitting back down to the space in between the hips. Again, even if it didn't hurt your left knee but it hurts your right, I want you to take Janu Shastasana, so planting the sole of the right foot to the inner left thigh, always protecting the knees. If you need to verify your position, your stance, by bending into the front knee or holding onto the shin, feel free. Drawing the left toes to the face. As we inhale, take the hands to the sky. As we exhale, hinge forwards, grab a hold of anywhere that serves you. Take an inhale to lengthen. And exhale, fold down any amount. Never judging yourself. Always remembering that each and every practice will teach us something new. And that is the practice of a lifetime, not just this single hour or all of the hours in 1 week that you've devoted your practice to. It's the practice of not 5, not 10, not 50 years, but millions of years. Even when we pass it on to other people, that is still the practice of a lifetime. Inhale, lifting the head and the chest. And then begin to plant the sole of the right foot down onto the mat. Make sure that the toes are facing over to the right. And then we're taking the left hand to the right ankle, reaching the right hand up and over for a side bend. And again, it doesn't matter if you can reach the foot or not. As I said earlier, I'd much rather you stay high and you're getting that twist rather than staying low and you're feeling all crammed up. You know, I've said it so many times in previous classes, in this class, but we are 60% water, and it just makes no sense to us why we shouldn't be able to move like water. You have all the tools within, you just have to cultivate them in a way where you can use them in a way to utilize the space. Working with what you've got. 4, 5. 4, keep twisting the chest. 3, 2, and 1. Peeling yourself back up nice and gently. You can use your hands if you need to lift yourself up. Otherwise, wherever you are, make your way into Skandasana. So the thumbs are drawing in towards the heart space. The back of the body is lengthening to the back of the room, and the left toes are flexed to the sky. If you're hypermobile and your calf is dropping down to the earth, I want you to take a little bend into the left leg so that you're cultivating this awareness of strength rather than natural flexibility. Breathing deeply. Opening out through the hips. An area where we often hold so many emotions. Closing down the eyes and notice how that may shift the perception of the posture. As we exhale, place the hands down into the ground and then begin to shift your way into Prasarita. This time, begin to take the hands onto the hips and interlace the fingers behind the back. As you interlace the fingers, you're drawing the hands up and overhead. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to forward fold. Again, notice the distribution of weight in the heels and the feet. Encouraging the crown of the head a little lower down to the earth as you reach the hands up and overhead a little further. Squeeze everything in. 4, 5. 4, 4, working with the shoulders. 4, 3. 4, 2. And 1. Place the hands down. Good job, everyone. Let's begin to lunge ourselves forwards to the top of the mat. And again, you can drop down to the back knee. We're coming into our lizard. So I always try and encourage the same variation on one side of the body in comparison to the opposite, so that you know, we're bringing awareness into both our masculine and our feminine sides of the body. So if you stayed on your hands, stay on your hands. If you drop down to the forearms, drop down to the forearms. You can lift the back leg if it serves you. Obviously, the only time we take an exception is if there's an injury involved. So always avoid forcing yourself into any injuries or any areas that you know may be a little bit dangerous for you or a little bit risky to take. Just taking a few breaths. And these slower paced classes, they give us a lot of opportunity and a lot of space in the mind to think. And it takes quite a lot of willpower to slow it down. Hatha Yoga, Hanusasana. The teachings of yoga is now. But that doesn't just mean on the mat, it means where we take it off the mat, how we treat others and how we treat ourselves. Inhale to come back up onto the hands if you haven't already. And then again, we're going to slide that left shin in front, parallel to the top of the mat, arriving back into pigeon. Again, if it hurts the knee, even if it didn't on the opposite side, please take your variation and lay down on the back for thread the needle. Take care of yourself. It's really important. Make sure that both hips are square and glued into the mat. We take an inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale, walk yourself down any mat. I never encourage anyone to just drop down straight away, because it just shows that maybe the ego is running ahead or the mind is running ahead. The inhale really allows the spine to separate and find length, and the exhale allows us to find softness and to melt down. Take in 10 to 15 breaths here. Nice long hold. How is it that you're feeling now in comparison to the beginning of the practice? Five more breaths. Inhale, lifting the head and the chest. Slowly walk your hands back. Taking it back into a tabletop. Take a few circles through the hips, through the wrists. Allowing it all to just unwind, unravel. And then shifting your legs over to one side, drop the hips down, begin to extend the legs out in front of you. We're just going to take a nice little Paschimottanasana. So if you have got tight hamstrings or lower back pain, again, bend the knees or hold onto the shins. Keeping the toes flexed to the face, we take an inhale to lengthen and take the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge forward, grab a hold of anywhere that serves you. Inhale to grow. And exhale, folding down. With each inhale, you're lengthening, and with each exhale, you're folding a little deeper. It becomes a moving meditation. Inhale, lifting the head and the chest. And release. We're going to take a reverse tabletop, so taking the soles of the feet down onto the ground and placing the fingertips behind the body, behind the back, facing forwards. As we inhale, we're going to lift through the hips, broaden through the collarbones for 5, 4, squeeze through the thighs, squeeze through the glutes, for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower the hips all the way down. And as you lower down, begin to lower all the way down onto the mat. Super, super slow. When you arrive, we're going to take a variation of your choice. So either shoulder stand or Vripta Pakarani. Vripta Pakarani, the legs are extending to the sky or up a nearby wall. If you're taking shoulder stand, then the legs are going up and overhead. Hands are onto the lower back as you lift yourself up. Please do not move your head and neck from side to side. I'm going to stay in Vripta Pakarani. Take a variation that works for you and allow everything to melt. If you are going into your full shoulder standing, then try and encourage energy to remain active in the posture, especially through the feet. We have a tendency to let the feet flop from side to side all over the place. When actually what we want to do, we want to squeeze everything in so that the bandhas are still keeping nice and compact and we're not allowing that energy to escape. We want to feel the vibrations. We want to feel the flow of the practice. 5 more breaths wherever you are. If you're in your shoulder stand, begin to take the feet up and overhead. Plant the hands down onto the mat and lower yourself all the way down. We're all lowering ourselves all the way down so that the hands can come underneath the hips. We're pointing the toes, dropping onto the forearms, arching through the back, and then reaching the crown of the head back for Matsyasana, our fish pose. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lifting yourself up to a seated position at the top of the mat. And just take a comfortable position that serves you. So maybe you take Sukhasana, easy cross-legged. Maybe you take Padmasana, half or full lotus. Taking the hands out to the sides, and then grab a hold of opposite elbows behind the back. Unless you're in full lotus, you reach behind the back and you grab a hold of the toes. Take an inhale to grow, and an exhale to forward fold, sealing in the benefits of practice. Inhale, lifting yourselves all the way back. Planting the backs of the palms on the tops of the knees with the index finger and the thumb drawing together. Inching Mudra, drawing the chin in towards the chest. Mahabandha, as all 5 bandhas are now activated. Good. You made it, guys. When you're ready, release the feet, release the hands, and very, very slowly begin to lower ourselves all the way down onto the mat for our final relaxation, allowing the feet to drop open to the sides and the palms to face up. Take an inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Quiet mind. Quiet body. Shavasana. I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Beginning to deepen through the breath. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, giving yourself a long overhead good morning stretch. And hugging the knees deeply into the chest as you roll yourself over onto the right side of the body. Pausing for a sense of gratitude for dedicating the last 60 minutes to your mind, your body and your soul. Gratitude for your teachers and their teachers' teachers, Om Namah Shivaya. And gratitude that the practice is healing for our bodies and our minds. Slowly begin to press yourself up to a seated position at the top of the mat. Extending the arms out to the sides, drawing the palms up to the sky, and drawing the hands into the heart space, Anjali Mudra. The practice of Bhakti Yoga, yoga of devotion, has drawn us all here virtually, so we'll end in union with the single mantra Om. Inhale through the nose.
cleansing sigh, let it go. Inhale, take the prayer towards the third eye. Big in breath. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhinovi Bhavantu. Jai. Bowing down. Namaste. Thank you guys for tuning in. If anybody does have any questions or anything, I'm just going to be here for another minute or so. So feel free to drop me a message. My social media and all of my details are in the comments if you want to hit me up. Otherwise, have the most beautiful day and thank you for tuning into the practice. Big love, guys.